Today we're looking at the human endocrine system from GCSE Biology Paper 2 for combined and triple science. And as always, we'll have a look at the question first, and then we'll break down the mark scheme and build a full marks answer. Okay, here we go. So we've got a pair of 2 marks questions, and it's not always just about the 6 mark questions and the 5 mark questions, because sometimes we can get these questions where they don't look very big to start with, but they are linked together. So it's effectively like a 4 mark question, but split into 2. It's quite a tricky topic, so we'll have a look through it and describe some of these other bits and bobs that are going on as well. So figure 1 shows some glands in the human endocrine system. A and B are endocrine glands. So we've got gland A, we've got gland B. Name one hormone that is produced by gland A and describe its effect. Name one hormone produced by gland B and describe its effect. So we've got our 2 glands. We need to say what hormone comes out of the gland and then also say what that hormone does. So when we're looking at our command words, we've got a name, dead easy. We've just got to say what it is, but we've also got describe in there. We've got to say what it does. So this is where we're getting our 2 marks. And effectively, if it was put into just one big block with 4 marks, it'd be exactly the same question, but it'd feel a bit harder. This feels a little bit easier because it's broken down like this. So it's quite a nice question. And if you'd like to give this question a go and see how many marks you can get before we look at the mark scheme and build a full marks answer, you can pause the video now. And if there is a particular topic that you're worried about losing marks on, let me know in the comments so that I can cover it in a future video. Right, okay, so here is our mark scheme. We've got it split into 2, and we've got gland A and gland B. So I'm just going to highlight these while we are on here. So we've got our thyroid and we've got our pancreas. So just so that we have them. I mean, I could put them on here as well, so I will do. So A is thyroid, because it's still good revision to know what they are. Because you could maybe have an A and a B, or an A and a B, and it already tells you what these are. So if you get a question where they're giving you this sort of layout and asking you to do this sort of stuff, it's good to know what they all are before we actually build our answer out. So thyroid produces thyroxine, and it controls the metabolic rate, and it controls the speed of chemical reactions in your body. So that's effectively what it does. So when you have trouble with your thyroid, it can affect multiple different things, one of them being growth. So at the age that you people are at, this is where you can sort of see different things with growth and stuff. Growing too tall, not growing enough, that sort of thing is normally influenced by your thyroid, or it's one of the reasons at least anyway. And then gland B, pancreas, in charge of your blood glucose concentration. So insulin is what is produced there, and it lowers your blood glucose concentration. And this is like a double answer because you also have glucagon in there, which increases your blood glucose concentration. So you've got your 2 hormones, insulin for taking blood glucose levels down, glucagon for bringing them back up again. So you can say either or of those. I mean, the common one that the majority of people are going to go for is insulin, but if you know what you're talking about when you're doing your exams and you've been revising a lot, then you're going to know about glucagon as well. So it is a correct answer. That's why they put it in there. So it's how we build this answer. It's a very easy one, like I said, so we'll just get straight into it. So name one hormone produced by gland A, describe its effect. So thyroxine, we're just literally just going to put what it is, and then I'll just build it into a sentence. So thyroxine is produced by the thyroid gland. Because I know it's a thyroid. I mean, if you're not feeling mega confident in naming them, don't do it. I'm just doing it because it's nice to do when I'm doing an answer, because you are revising. So you don't have to do it. It's not in the mark scheme that you have to name what gland it is. It can just help you, I suppose. It looks nice, but it's just specifically for helping you with the revision, in that is your thyroid gland in your neck. So that's why I mentioned it. So thyroxine is produced by the thyroid gland, and we have to describe its effect. It controls Which of those two would be nice to go for? We'll just say about metabolism. So it controls the body's metabolic rate. Because you don't have to have all of these. One of them's fine. So we've said thyroxine, it's produced by the thyroid and it controls metabolic rate. 2 marks. How easy is that? Then we'll go with our pancreas one. Insulin is produced in the pancreas. And how could I word this to make it nice? Insulin is produced in the pancreas and it we'll just say word for word here. It lowers blood glucose concentration. That's all you've got to do for 2 marks. So what I'm getting at here is the reason why I've put this question in, apart from it being like the kind of question that we get for our endocrine system, there's a couple of different versions and everything, but the reason for picking this one in particular is because I just wanted to highlight, particularly if you're stressed about this kind of question turning up and you're thinking, oh no, I don't know any of this stuff. I've picked it because it's a 4-mark question, but it's split into 2. And this is like a thing that you can do mentally when you get a question. And maybe had this been 4 marks and it said, name the hormones produced by glands A and B and describe their effects for 4 marks, you could then mentally do this in your head to split it into gland A, say what it is, what it does, then do gland B, say what it is, what it does, and then you've got your 4 marks really easily. I mean, if you compare this to other 4-mark questions that we see, that's a lot of marks for not having to do a great deal. I mean, I've even made it longer than it needed to be, because when you look at, like, say, that insulin lowers blood glucose concentration, you get 2 marks. That is literally all that needs to be said. But like I said, it's splitting this up. Had it been a 4-mark question, because it changes every year, we don't know what it's going to be in advance. And it could be that they do that just to make it that little tiny little bit harder of making it a 4-mark question where you've got to mention 2 glands and what they produce. And hopefully that made the structure of this answer a little bit clearer and showed you exactly what the examiner's looking for. And if the video did help, give it a like, because it really helps the channel to reach more students that are revising for their exams. And if you know somebody who needs help with this particular topic, feel free to share this video with them. And check out these other GCSE science walkthroughs that are on screen now. Thanks for watching and good luck.